Let's talk about time. Time is such a fascinating concept to me and a fascinating thing to explore because we've been so dependent on time. And as I expanded and started understanding all of these different concepts and ways to live and the universal laws, time was never involved in any of them. Time is not actually in there. So I started asking and connecting with beings who would explain different aspects of time. And I understand the history of time and how it came about and why we work with it the way we did and how it evolved. But that's not the part of time I want to talk about. I want to talk about removing yourself from the structure of time. Because as I learned all of this stuff, I realized that time is a creation. And yes, we live in a time-space reality. However, our dependency on time is self-created. We do not need to have the dependency that we do on time. However, we've used it as a tool and as a structure for certain reasons, but we no longer need to use it. So as a creator, as a master in magic, in divine creation, time is not actually a part of the equation. Synchronicity, magic, all of those things are part of the creation, but timing is not. And this saying of divine timing is interesting because what people think divine timing is may not necessarily be what it is. It's divine timing because you are the divine, and when you align with it and call it forth, it aligns perfectly with you in order to express itself in the reality. You create divine timing. It's called alignment. And when you align, it's divine because you align as the divine self, as the creator, as the magic, as the master, and the expression of whatever you desire, whatever it is you're calling forth, will show up in that perfect alignment. We call that synchronicity. So, can you live beyond time? Absolutely. I live beyond time. Now, how do I do that? I did that by removing my reliance on time. I use no alarm clocks. I stopped using an alarm clock about 3 years ago, and I haven't woken up to an alarm in 3 years. How I got there was I started setting my alarm later than when I wanted to wake up, and I would tell myself what time to wake up. And what I noticed is I would always wake up at that time. And as I did that, I would then check the alarm when the alarm went off, and I would realize the difference between when I was telling myself to wake up and the gap to when the alarm was actually set. And in that, I realized I don't need an alarm, so I got rid of it. I schedule appointments, but I don't use the time for when I need to be there. I allow the energy to inform me of what I need to do, where I need to be. Because in creation, in alignment, you will always be where you need to be when you need to be there. In the beginning, I would be a lot stricter than I am now. Strict, let's say a lot stricter. I'm not strict at all. I don't use it now. But when I started off, I would actually monitor the time in order to make sure I was somewhere, quote unquote, on time or at my appointments on time. And what I found while I was doing that was people who were very reliant on time would tend to be late, and I would tend to be there exactly when we agreed to be there because I had no resistance to showing up when I needed to show up because this is what I agreed to do. And as a result, I was always there. So now I don't actually monitor when I need to be somewhere at all. I just know I'm going to be there, and I can trust that I will always be there at that time. See, time still exists. It's still there. I still use timestamps to help people understand things. I can still track time, but I don't. And the interesting thing about not tracking time anymore is it has no dependency in my life, because I will always be where I need to be. I am always where I need to be. I have always been where I needed to be. And now I've just proved it to myself. So do I need time? All of my creations come in divine timing. So if they come in divine timing, then it shows up when I align to it. So if I can align to it, do I need time? The sun rises and sets regardless of what time it is. We just track it based on time. Spring is the same time of year because we track it based on time, but spring is going to show up regardless of whether we track it or we don't. All of these things, if you can separate yourself from it, will release your dependency on time. We don't need time to function. And as you move into higher dimensional understandings, as you move into more expansion, time will become much more much more malleable and playable, and can bend and shift and shape in different ways, because you are the creator of it. You're adding it into your experience, and you don't need to have it there. We've just gotten so comfortable with it being there.